been given access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry intuitively listens and expresses the deep questions on people's hearts and elevates the conversation, while Noemi Grace channels divine wisdom and expansive answers to your deepest questions. Each show's themes are related to self-love, self-healing, relationships, and personal struggles, offers tools that will lead to sacred stability and help you find your best solutions. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Noemi and I, Lisa Berry, are here, excited to share this wonderful show with you. Hello, Noemi.
Hello, Lisa, and to all of our listeners who may be Jewish, Lashana Tova, a good New Year to you. And I love Rosh Hashanah, even though I'm not Jewish. I love the energy of it. It's so vibrant to me.
Yes, and it also lets us know that pomegranate season is here.
Oh, well, it's actually born on Rosh Hashanah in a Jewish hospital. Today's not my birthday. It wasn't today. So, so it has a lot of meaning for me.
Oh, I see the things that I'm now just learning. I've known you for a couple of years, and this is a new little tidbit, a little fun fact about Noemi.
Yes. I had forgotten. And years ago, my sister reminded me, but you were born on Rosh Hashanah. I was.
Oh, I love it. Aw,
yes.
Well, it's a special day. And so today, which is really fun, sometimes we get to find things that we didn't even know we were missing, but today's show is about how to find what's missing in your life. And this is such a big thing. How many times have we either said ourselves or have heard others, say, I just feel like there's something missing. I want more, or I used to be, or like that, that frustration. So, I think we came up with a really hot topic here.
Yes. And I have to say that it was inspired by my recently transitioned friend, Marie Patrice, who said something to me when we first met back in, well, it wasn't immediately when we first met, but it must have been close to 20 years ago that she said something to me, which was that which you find most lacking in your life is your gift to share with the world. And you'll only find it when you look within. And I was just like, oh, what is that? To me, it was so profound. And it sat with me it must have been, 2003 or so when she said that. So it's been almost 20 years, and it's sat with me. And I remember it. It's been a powerful opening for me. And I sit there and I reflect on that.
Yes. I think it demonstrates just how powerful how long-standing and powerful and meaningful our words can be to others when we say it, especially with such depth and with such love.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to share our very short and sweet show description so that you know that you are in the right place when you are listening to the show. Well, you always are. But
okay, let's do that.
All right. So how to find what's missing in your life. Have you ever repeatedly looked for something in your life and not found it? Have you considered that you might be looking in the wrong places, like other people's advice, expectations, or validation? Comparing yourself to others? Being caught up in obtaining things that seem elusive, very materialistic stuffy here, or coping with life by self-medicating. Well, the good news is that what you are missing is waiting for you to find it. But first you need to shift where you're looking for it. You can have everything your heart desires, but you must start within, which is often the last place we look. I'm jumping there, Noemi. Why is it the last place we look? Why do we, if it's there, why do we seem to look everywhere else but?
Well, right. We sense it missing within. We figure that something is lacking within us, and we figure that there's someplace else that we can find it. And so we go looking for it someplace else. And we've been socialized, we've been trained. Out there is the answer. So most of us have not told that the answers lie within as children. We're told out there that parent has the answer, the teacher has the answer, society has the answer, your minister has the answer, somebody else has the answers. And so when you don't know where to look, we've been trained to look outside. So we start seeking, we'll start looking here, we start looking there. And a lot of times we might try on some of the things that we see out there. And sometimes we might feel good for a bit and then realize, oh, still not satisfied.
Yes. You actually brought me to a time where a lot of us, when we live at home, we're growing up, and then we get that motivation, that excitement, that drive, and we often say, I can't wait to get out into the world.
Yes.
And I was just, as you were saying that, I thought, well, because we go out to have an experience, but we gain that truth, usness, from within. We are taking ourselves outside. So it'll be interesting where this show goes. I always love this, but I would love for you to really kick us off with the pre-channeled message and really set the stage for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was and you brought up very developmentally, it is normal to want to get out there, right? It is normal to want to launch in life and have dreams and say, when I grow up, I'm going to be whatever, and, and we sometimes could say, I'm going to be something big. And then when the younger we are, we might have something bigger in mind for ourselves. And then as we get closer to launch, it's, let's see if I can graduate college. And, so it becomes, we start to somewhat holding it in, but sometimes diminish as well. So,
Yes.
so if this is your first time listening, this is what Lisa calls the pre-channeled message, which is what happens when I sit down before the show, a couple days before usually, and sit with Source and ask, what do you want to tell us? Here's what Lisa and I want to have. We're really feeling strongly to have a show on how to find what's missing in your life. And then what do you want to say about this? How do you want to start the conversation, the dialogue? And so, because it's all a dialogue. Lisa and I are having a dialogue. I have one with the divine, Lisa with the divine. We're all three of us having a dialogue. So this is fulfill from within, and you will find what you've been missing. When you sense something is missing in your life, you may feel very frustrated, but do not despair. The sense of missing is a longing for something or someone that you deeply feel belongs in your life. The deepest senses of missing are often related to disconnection from yourself, from who you truly are. You are longing for more of what makes you whole, fulfilled, and fully you. Many of you compartmentalize yourselves into good parts and bad parts, into what you accept about yourself and what you reject and resist. And yet it is all you and life as you know it today. But there is so much more to you than you can imagine. And those bad parts, as you call them, hold keys to deeper fulfillment. If you would only embrace them and be with them, you would find that they are not bad at all. Those aspects of you may be scared, sad, or lonely, or a host of other feelings and experiences that you don't want to embrace. Yet when you do embrace them, you nurture them. And when you nurture them, they don't hurt so much. And when they hurt less, you will feel less threatened by them, and you can embrace and nurture them even more. And as you do, you start to see them in a different light. You will understand that they have been longing for and see how it feeds into what you sense is missing. It's missing firstly because part of you is missing and yearning to be loved, accepted, and embraced. And until you can embrace all of you, even those parts that you label as bad, you will always sense something is missing. And when you embrace those parts, you find they're not bad at all. They simply need more love and nurturing. And in giving them what they need, you give yourself what you need. And the deepest longing then, which is longing for you, can be satisfied. Then you'll actually feel more whole. And what you yearn for shifts to greater completion and deeper fulfillment. and you sense new things are lacking, but that sense is different because it's built on a foundation of integrated greater wholeness. You sense you want something more, not because you feel empty, lost, or unwhole, but because you desire to know yourself more deeply and to share yourself more deeply. You may have had these desires all along, but you tried to satisfy them through external means, looking for someone or something that would finally satisfy that inner longing. Yet the deepest and most basic inner longing is you longing for the you that you have forgotten, dismissed, or disregarded. And you will never find that you out there. And there is no one out there that can provide that to you. Although there are always people who can help you to find you, which is the greatest lacking in most of your lives. Even for those who long for a deep and meaningful relationship with someone, you will never be fully satisfied until you can have a deep and meaningful relationship with yourself, because it all starts within. Every lack starts to be fulfilled within. Then a greater manifestation is possible when you fulfill first from within. Yet the human tendency is to fulfill from outside you. You can experience much fulfillment this way, yet the greatest fulfillment starts within and expands to include all of you and others in deep, meaningful, and purposeful living. As you embrace more of you and courageously share yourself more authentically with others, in this, the greatest fulfillment can be experienced. And we are here to guide you into the deepest knowing of you and the full embracing of you and sharing of the fully embraced you in a loving, fulfilling, and purposeful life. We delight to help you every step of the way. Will you accept our help? In great love, we are complete. Namaste.
Lots of beautiful direction and descriptions of like how it might be. And what I loved was sometimes when we're looking for something, how to find what's missing, the missing isn't coming. And this is what was shared in there is what's missing isn't because you're empty, lost, or unwhole, but more of a desire. And I love this shift of focus. So it's not like, oh, I'm missing this and I'm trying to find it. It's, wow, I would like to have this or find this. And now it's coming from a different place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have shifted because we have found more of ourselves. So we shift into what we desire shifts as we shift into more of us.
Yeah, and there's one word in there that it caught my attention. It was kind of sparkly and shiny to say, oh, let's just talk about this one. Just after that, something was shared about sometimes, yes, things about us we have forgotten, but some of it's dismissed. And that word was really bright. I was wondering if we could expand, if you could, like, when parts of ourselves or something about us has been dismissed, what's happening there and what might we feel like or experience with that?
Well, I think it does create that longing, right? That we don't recognize as us longing for us. And so throughout life, you get, different parts of yourself that you're told are not good enough or that you feel are not good enough or you don't like. So you dismiss them. You can even discard them. You can try to discard them, that they're part of you. And the more that you lock them up and throw away the key, the greater is going to be that longing for yourself and for you, So my first career was a software engineer. I used to sit there and program, and then I was actually really good at it. I became like the design person and I would say, this is how the direction and all of this. But the more that I got more and more into that, the more that I felt empty. And because I went to that career because I knew I was going to make really good money. And that was what was important. Make good money. But I felt so empty sitting there for so many hours. And it's not to say that everyone's going to feel empty. It wasn't me. That's why I felt empty. It wasn't me. And Just to make the long story short, different things transpired in my life, and I started to do different things. I was leading a women's group. I joined the women's group and eventually became a leader in there. And I started to feel like I was able to bring those aspects of me, compassion, leadership, caring for others, bring out those parts that were not being expressed in my career. And I started to really resonate with that. And I felt so much more fulfilled. And I realized, oh, this is a part of me that I didn't realize I had. And it was an important part of me. And so that shifted me and eventually shifted my career as I became more and more of me.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you said it brought out parts of you that needed to be expressed. And as you were sharing about your career, I remember when I am true and true a nutritionist and a creative and an entrepreneur and all that wonderful stuff. And about a decade or two ago, I was just helping at the time in my relationship, we were renovating a house, and I kind of put everything aside just to be like labor. And first I loved it. I thought, well, I'm good at this. This is like it's easy. You get your body's tired, but that's it. That's what you always feel accomplished. You're good. But then after, just pulling wire or knocking down walls or hammering down floors, I thought I was just like, I started losing myself, and it was a disconnect. And you mentioned that in the pre-channel message, there's a disconnection. And and there was parts of me that needed to be expressed that weren't being expressed. So I felt like, oh, there's something missing. But really what it was is that I wasn't expressing myself the way that I needed to, and I was disconnected from it. So therefore, I started thinking I was missing something. So I was looking for other jobs, like, well, what other part of this renovation job can I, do that will help me? But so I was looking externally, and I started,
yes.
that just reminded me. So I wonder how many of our listeners are connecting with that, where they might have had a time in their life where they stepped into a different role at the time being, job, mother, whatever, something, and went, there's something else here that needs to be expressed. I love that.
There's a lot more to say, but I think we're up onto commercial.
Yes,
so let's chat a little more, and then I know you'll have some amazing question, and the divine will share more. So come back after commercial.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I did your part there.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes. Co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
My loves, you know you're here as a soul-led leader to transform this world through the sharing of your passions and gifts. You are here to be in your warrior of light and align your business with your highest self. I'm Rosalind Fung of the show Activate Your Soulgasmic Business. Let's elevate your business to the next expansive level. I invite you to flow into a business soul alignment discovery call with me at rosalindfung.com. That's ROSALYN, fun as in have some fun, FUNG, and let's see how I can best hold space for you to align your highest self, magnetize your dream clients, and monetize on your soul mission. I can't wait to connect.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back, everyone, to Access to Angels and Grace. Noemi Grace is here to channel for us, and and I am here to intuitively listen, which I did hear something. So, Noemi, we'll let you gear up for channeling. I heard, as I listened here, we do get the spark to look. We get that little shiny bit like, oh, look over here. But then what's coming up for me to have some guidance here, some help from the divine, is we now know, okay, we've got to shift our foot where we're going to look. We're going to look inward. But what if we feel trapped by looking in those wrong places? And just to expand, those wrong places were, and I really heard the word, I'm trapped. I can't because of other people's advice, expectations, validations, comparing myself to others, being caught up in obtaining things like you mentioned with career and making money, coping with life by self-medicating, whatever that might be. So I really heard that, like, there are people that they get the spark to look, but they feel trapped. So if there's any help and guidance here on how to overcome, do we overcome that? Do we ignore it? Do we heal it? What do we do?
Probably the latter. But there probably is some level of embracing, right? Because that in the pre-channeled message, they talk about those, the parts. I mean, this is a different, slightly different context, but the parts that you feel are bad, that if you would embrace them, you nurture them, and then they feel less sad, lonely, they don't hurt as much. And so feeling trapped, that would be a great show. That would be a great show topic.
I will highlight that.
Because I think we've all felt that. And the sense of trap. I mean, if you think of an animal in a trap, there's something is holding you where you are, and there is no escape, no solution, no way to get out of that you can see, right?
Yes.
No way to get out of that you can see. And so doesn't mean there's no way, but sometimes the only way out is through also. So so feeling trapped would be a great, I think, topic for a show, because there's so much, and it's so part of human experience to have that sense of trappedness.
And it doesn't even trap with like a bar and cages, of course, but there are these beliefs that we hold. Like if you just even consider that feeling trapped because of other people's expectations, or what we think are other people's expectations. Maybe those other people don't even have those expectations, but we think they do.
Oh, so true, so true. Sometimes, I mean, I remember there was a time where I had done a personal growth workshop, and part of that was to make peace with your parents. And I had this whole litany of stuff that you expect me to do this and that and this and that, and you don't like the choices I'm making, and blah blah blah. I wrote this letter to them, and then you had to call them and read it on the phone, because that was a while ago, and not everybody had email. My parents didn't have email back then, so I couldn't send it to them. But there was no smartphone, so there was no way to type it up. So you had to write it on a piece of paper. And I read it to my mother, and there was silence on the other end of the line. And she said, "We never look at you like that. We love you. We love you always. We know you're different than we are. And we probably don't understand you all the way, but we don't see you that way. We don't think you're bad, and we don't disagree with your choices. They're not choices we would make, but they're choices you're making." So, and so it was just unbelievable that the relief and release all at once of all of the stuff that I was carrying and putting their name on it. here's their package. This box has mom and dad on it. And it was my
And you were trapped
perception. Yes, it was a suffering that I was having. I was suffering. I mean, being trapped is a suffering. I was suffering because I was sure that they were seeing me in the way that I was basically seeing them. I was judging them. They weren't judging me.
Yes.
So.
Oh my goodness. That's a perfect demonstrative story for this. Yes. We are, and we hold that box, mom and dad, this is their box, this is what they think of me, and that is trapped. And so, that would be, yes, see, that's what I'm feeling, that people are like, okay, what do I do with this? How do I put this box? Maybe we can't, pick up that phone and do this. How can we go inward to open the trap door? Oh, not the trap door. Open the door from our trap.
Right. Yes. And sometimes, I had the benefit that I knew my parents were safe. Sometimes you can't read that letter to your parents.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's way too unsafe.
Yes.
So, and you have to honor that too. And yet, right. So that becomes, trapped. I have some clients that have lost some dear, like their closest family member or their closest friend, and not able to move on, stuck there, trapped in that loss. We get trapped in something and we get stuck. And then, we're looking somehow out there to unstick us. But really, I had to shift inside me.
Yes.
In order I had to shift inside me to be ready to get on with my parents. And I did it because I had to. But I guess I could have just said, I'm not doing this. I can't stand this workshop, and walk out, but I did it.
Well, freedom was calling. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I think that would be a beautiful thing to channel and help people. So if they're feeling trapped, their own trap, for all those reasons, are 1, 2, 3, and 4 there, other expectations and self-medicating, and how to, where's our strength? Where's our courage? How do we get that when we do feel trapped, but we can hear, we have the spark to look?
So having the spark, so I write this down to jog my memory later, because I don't remember I remember some. I remember the general impression and some phrases, but I don't remember the entire thing. So and then I want to post a quote from the show with the replay link. So we have the spark to look. So I take a moment to write this down so it'll jog my memory later. We have a spark to look, but we feel trapped.
Yes.
Then what? Where do we go?
The guidance? Yeah, guidance on
that. Okay. I think we've all been there. It sounds so like such a human experience. So, okay, if this is your first time listening, I am going to just take a moment to deepen the connection with Source. I'm going to start with some water and take a moment of silence to connect, and I'll turn it over to the divine, and they'll start to answer the question and give us some wisdom, some juiciness, some tools, some love. Always compassion and love. Hello, Divine. So happy to have you here with us again and to help us with this question. If we have the spark to look for something more, something else, but we feel trapped, where do we go from here? What do we do? How can we help ourselves? And we are delighted with this question, and we acknowledge you, Lisa, for listening to what's on the hearts. You are a listener. Noemi Grace, you are a listener too, but you are a channeler. You are a receiver, and you echo. And we are using you to share these messages, and we're grateful for both of you. And we are grateful for all our listeners and all of humanity There's so much suffering. You all have been suffering so much. And so much of the suffering comes from within yourselves, from your minds and the stories you tell yourself, the thoughts, the beliefs, all of these things that you have labels for. These are beliefs, these are thoughts, these are stories, all of those things, the collection of all of that. That collective collection is huge for so many of you. All of that, those mental constructs, they get you stuck. They get you unsure of where to look because you evaluate everything, comparing it to those mental constructs. Well, what does the rule system say? What does the belief system say? What is the order? What is the solution? What is the answer? So when you look within, you look in your mind. You were talking about looking outside of yourself for answers, but then you have also learned to look within, but you look within your mind, and you don't look within your heart. You don't look within your soul, your intuition, the deeper parts of yourself. We call that the true self. You look in the mind, which always has something to say because it's got a rule book of beliefs and thoughts and analysis of experiences, meaning making. It's got a whole book of how to evaluate everything and how to choose everything. And when you look through the mind, through the lens, the prism of the mind, you will see something very different than when you are able to get still and listen to yourself. So when we have been talking about fulfilling from within, listening to within, healing within, yes, the mind needs healing, and you must heal that. We are telling you that you must heal that, but you also must learn to listen to that deepest voice, that truest voice of you, which is not the mind, which is not the rule book, which is not analyzing and strategizing. It is a deep place of knowing. And when you can reach that deep place of knowing, when you get there, you know, and what you intuitively sense, what is resonant for you, there is your truth. It is what is true for you. It may not be true for the next person, but it is true for you. And that deepest truth of you is something that most of you have not accessed. It is about your light and your beauty and your gifts and your talents and all of who you are at the deepest and most expansive level. And so to look within, learn to look there. But if you feel trapped, that is often because of the mind and what you perceive as the external circumstances. And yes, so many of you are in places where it is hard to make a move. It is like being mired in the quicksand. It is hard to make a move. If you are in quicksand, you will not get out by making a move. You need help. You need help from others, or you will drown. And so it is in that place where you feel most trapped, where you feel most stuck, that you need help. And we're always there to help you. Maybe you say, there's no one to help me. I'm all alone in this world. And we say, we are here with you. We are here with you. And if you reach out to us, we will help you. And so that spark is that spark to look, that spark that says there is something more. That comes from that deepest place in you. And if you would learn to track the source of that, you will access that deepest truth within you. And that is a practice. And that will not happen by flipping a light switch. It is not immediate, but it is a practice. And it is a practice well worth cultivating, because when you can learn to get to that, access that place that has that deep message for you, that spark of life that says, this is not you. There is more to you than this. There is more for you. And you might say there's more for you out there, but we say there is more for you in there. In you, inside who you are, inside the depth of you, inside the height of you, the expanse of you. There is so much more to you. And so the more that you feel trapped, that is a strong sign that there is much, 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 much more for you available within you, that there is a disconnection from the deepest truth of who you are. And because that truth is the truth that does set you free, that liberates you. And with that truth comes options, solutions that you can't imagine when you're going by the rule book in the mind and saying, well, this should be that and that. Okay, add this together with that and subtract that, and this is the result. And that is not what your answers are when they come from the deepest truth. And so feeling trapped, let it be a reminder that there is more for you, and be willing to embrace that and ask for our help, and we will always help. In great love, we are complete. Namaste. Ooh, wow.
Yes, I love that. Feeling trapped, that be a reminder that there is something more for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound? I don't know if that sounds familiar. That was a beautiful. Yes, because then we can embrace feeling trapped. It opens a little bit of a
right.
there.
We have to. Yeah. If we don't embrace it, we're going to resist it and then reject it and get stuck. Then we're going to get more trapped, right? I love that quicksand example. You know, it's like if you're the guy that stepped in the quicksand, right? The natural tendency is to fight and fight yourself free, and you can't. You need help. Right. You need somebody to give you that limb and pull you out. And so when we're that trapped, we need help. And we can always get help from source if we can't find help anywhere else.
Yes.
And then if we can learn to track ourselves down to that deepest voice, that truest voice of us in our hearts, our true self, our true voice, then we're going to have a whole different perspective on everything. And we won't.
Yes.
We'll be able to untrap ourselves.
Yes, and when we come back from commercial break, I want to talk a little smidgy more about this mind having a rule book. I think that was very clever and worth a little bit more expansion on.
Yes.
So we'll come on back and we'll talk about how that mind has a rule book.
And how to be free of it.
Yes.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Consistently attract soulmate clients, begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business by tuning in on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain. Join me for your light language activation and let's magnetize and monetize.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Alrighty, Noemi. Noemi
Yes.
just finished channeling for us and how to, when we get that spark to look, but we are feeling trapped. I really, really connected with when we said we are evaluating things from within, but sometimes when we go within, we think we're going in the mind. And I feel like that's a trap. It's highlighting like, okay, well, wait, I'm not going externally. I'm in my mind. I'm in my head. That's not the place. It's in, and it was said, into your soul, into your intuition, and not this rule book. So that was a perfect distinction. I'm really grateful for that.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we can get, stuck between, well, wait, I am going in within. I'm thinking about it all the time.
Yes. That hadn't occurred to me. That distinction hadn't occurred to me. And okay. So that's, once we start going within, a lot of times we're then going to go into that place that's evaluating, that place that's analyzing, that place that's looking to understand and figure it out. We want to figure it all out. It's like, before I take that first step, I want it all figured out. I want it strategized. This is how it's going to play out. This, life never works that way, but the mind feels like a level of control can be gained if we have it all figured out.
Yes. Ooh, figured out. Yes. Oh, I love that, because so I would say that previously, before I developed my spiritual practice, my self-inquiry, my going inward, I absolutely would go inward to the mind. I would look for my own, well, this isn't somebody else. This is my strategy. This is my logic. This is my beliefs. And I didn't go deep enough into that wisdom.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm jumping and having you dive into channeling possibly really quickly, but I think that's where we would need the help, because we can get trapped in.
Well, yes.
Okay,
I've really appreciated that, again, that distinction, because to go within, and so we say, but my truth is, right? So we've all said this, but my truth is that I didn't do anything wrong. Well, that's the truth of the mind. It's not the truth that liberates, right? Is your truth, because they said that deepest truth, when you can get to that place, and that deepest truth, which lives in that place where the spark came from, because I really liked your choice of the word spark, that deepest truth and the spark coming from that same place. Your truth may not be that I didn't do anything wrong. The deepest truth might be, I didn't consider you. It might be the same, for the same situation, you might have a deeper truth. Or the deeper truth might be that I was really fixated on this one thing and I didn't hear you. Or maybe the deepest truth is that you didn't do anything wrong, but it's not going to come out like that. I didn't do anything wrong. It's going to be, I was being true to myself. I was being true to myself, and that must have been uncomfortable for you. So it's very different. So when we look to that truth and that place where the spark and the truth live, I like that.
Yes, where the spark and the truth live. And so when we're looking, so our title is like how to find something that we think is missing, and looking, and how do we, all these things. If I think that, this is such like a revelation to me, that I think maybe that's the pain and the suffering we're feeling, is that we think, but I am looking inward and I am doing this, but it is in the mind. How can we shift how can we identify, recognize that it is the mind, and then how to shift and go deeper?
Yes.
We'd like to get Noemi to squeeze in 2 channels for our show.
Oh, absolutely. So how to recognize it's the mind and go deeper.
Ooh, nicely put.
Yeah.
It's and go where the spark it lives. Yeah.
Go where the spark lives. Yes. That spark is, you think about the spark, it starts a whole fire. Yes. So I love that, so, okay. I'll take a moment to get silent again. Excuse me. Okay. Grab a drink of water. Ask the divine to take us in, to take us deep, deep within, to the real truth and the real spark of life. And how do we get there? Okay, so we've learned that we're looking outside, and we start looking inside, and we're going to the level of the mind. How can we get to deeper? How do we get there? When we're stuck in the mind, we're trapped in the mind when we don't know where to go. Something like that. And the divine knows what our hearts are asking. I'm so grateful for that. And we are grateful to you and to all of you for this transmission, for the opportunity to have this transmission, because you have So many of you lived in the mind. You have misunderstood what the great teachers have said. The Buddha, the mind is everything. The mind is everything because it ensnares you or it frees you. It doesn't mean that is where you should live. The mind, there is a free mind, and that mind is not the one with the rule book. That mind is connected to the spark. That mind is connected to the truth, where there is a channel, a two-way channel between that deepest truth and the mind. That mind that is liberated, the mind of light, that mind of high vibration. And how that mind gets transformed is through that deepest truth. It's through the heart. It is through going into the depth of you. And the more that you access your deepest knowing, the more that your mind will get transformed, because the mind is always watching. The mind is always observing. And as you access and embrace that deepest knowing, then there is a ripple effect that even reaches your mind, and the rule book starts to get rewritten. The first thing that happens is the rules change a little bit. They loosen up. They're not so tight. They're not so rigidly held. And so the rule book starts to be rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. And eventually you wind up with a very small rule book. Live in the present. Be here now. Know who you are. Know your truth. Know the truth of the universe. Know the truth of the divine. These simple things like that are deeply profound. The rule book doesn't have all of these clauses. It's like a software program. If this condition, then that. Else do this, otherwise that. It becomes like a big, complex program to run your life. And so that rule book will start to diminish. So start to ask yourself, where am I coming from? Where am I coming from? Am I coming from the rule book? What is the rule that's dictating to me this course of action? So when you feel this as the action I need to take, and you think, oh, that thing over there is right for me, or that thing over there is wrong for me. What rule book? What rule is dictating that? What rule is informing that decision? And is there a deeper place of information within you, which is your true self, your truth, your deepest truth? Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper than this? Ask yourself that question. Learn to ask yourself, can I go deeper than this? Can I go deeper? Is there a deeper answer? Is there a deeper way of looking at this? Is there a deeper meaning to this? Is there a deeper freedom than this? Is there a deeper freedom than this? There is always a deeper freedom. While you are in human form, there is always a deeper freedom available to you. Does this choice, does this course of action lead to that deeper freedom? Does this idea lead to that deeper freedom? Or is this idea based on that rule that I will make more money here, or I will be, have more visibility here, or I will have this here, this thing that I have been looking for? What is the rule? And is there a deeper knowing? So you have the rules in the mind, but there is a knowing within deeply. It is a place of knowing. Yes, this resonates, or no, this is not my alignment. It may be really good for so many people, but it is not my alignment. And when you can know that, there's no self-doubt. The mind introduces doubt because there is a part of the mind that doesn't want to follow the rules, doesn't want the rule book. And so the doubt comes in between those two parts of the mind. And yet there is no doubt when you can access your deepest knowing. The deepest knowing lives in that place of truth, which, as Noemi Grace said, identified that the spark lives there too. That spark is your life force. It is the spark of life. It is that place, that spark of divinity that lives in you. There is a divine spark within, and that place inside of you is full of all the answers. It is full of all the knowing of you, the knowing of deep truths of you, deep truths of us, deep truths even of the universe. There's so much deep truth, deep knowing, deep understanding, and deep loving. So much deep, and that place is full of love. So you can use the rule to evaluate, does this come from love? Does this come from love? If it's not coming from love, are you choosing that? From what? From where are you choosing it? Anything that comes from the deepest place will align with love, will align with compassion, will align with freedom. We love you so much, and we are so gratefully complete, yet ever expanding. Thank you for this question and this opportunity. Namaste.
Ooh, I felt like Source was having a little fun with me there, Noemi, because I had asked a question in my head and then all of a sudden the answers were coming out of you. and I thought, oh, well, I wrote it down, didn't even, and what was one of the things was the mind might still be in conflict with the deeper knowing, but it will show up as doubt, as uncertainty, as all those things. But I love that you said it's when the recognition of alignment is with your spark. So I love this. Yeah,
and resonance.
And resonance. It was resonance. So and then alignment, you start talking about alignment. And I thought, oh, yes. So we might have a knowing, like, go this way, look that place, look here, feel this, intuitively feel that and know it. And it's then with the recognition of the alignment with the spark that we'll know it's from that deeper place. And if the mind has doubt, it just means that it's in conflict because it's still going by the rule book.
Exactly. Well, and I believe that there was a place where it said that they said that there's a part of the mind that doesn't like following the rules. So it's going to create conflict and it's going to create that self-doubt. So when you get to that place of knowing, you just know, well, how do you know this is going to turn out? I just know that this is what I need to do. How do you know this is the right thing? How do you know this is better than that? I know I need to do this. You can't necessarily say it's better than that, but you need to do it. And maybe it's not better than that, but something wonderful comes out of it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Was the most beautiful thing.
I love your enthusiasm.
Because we might say, I have to do this. I know I can feel it. I have to do this. They say, well, how do you know it's right? Well, I don't know whether it's right. I know it's right for me and I have to do it, but I'm not going to produce like it's going to be 100% effective and this is the outcome. It's just that I know it's the right thing for me to do right now.
Yes.
I love that. Oh.
It is the right thing. And you don't know that maybe this job that you're taking that feels right, maybe the company is going to go under, but there's some gift there. You're going to meet somebody really strategic that's going to, open opportunities for you. Or there's so many things that it doesn't necessarily, you can't measure it by the mind's rule book, but you make more money at this job. You should go there.
Yes, you don't know which gift, but you know there is a gift. That's huge. You don't know which gift. I often do that, in things, and I think I know that as long as I'm looking within and following that direction, like with the calling, the spark, then I kind of never feel like I've been let down or failed. And other people might for sure. They might, oh my gosh, that was a big flop or something, and I'll think, nope, I'm good with it. I went where I was called.
And yes, I think of the example from your life of where you invested so much time and energy into this new educational
venture.
And, after 9 months or whatever period of time, you realized, this is not my alignment. But you met your teacher through that. You met G.P. Walsh. I mean, that was for you such a key step to do this thing that you knew you had to do, but it was the end result wasn't that.
No. And I got to do things that I would never have done because there wasn't the vessel to do those things in. And so I love that you said, you don't know, there's a gift, you just don't know which gift. And they're all valuable. They're all for your soul's growth and for the knowing, to reconnect with the knowing. And to find what's missing.
Yeah, but you were willing to follow that. You knew you had to do that choice, and you were very, you told me about it. I have to do this. I'm going to do this. This is this is an alignment for me. And then several months later, you're like, I can't. I'm no longer there. It's complete.
It's complete. I love that word.
And then you started working with GP, and so it was exactly what it needed to be, and you knew you needed to be there, but it didn't produce all that abundance and this and that was the expectation. So
Yes. And I hope that everybody hears this. Thank you for highlighting that, Noemi, because the listeners are tuning in. Like, you might feel you're missing something, but perhaps even explore, like, allow that to show up, because I didn't know that was missing, and something different showed up, and I went, whoa, well, how about that? So on this, how to find what's missing show is just follow the trail. Follow the trail, but go inward, go deeper than the mind.
Follow the trail.
You follow the trail. And, and what's missing will be fulfilled if we come from that place of intuition, of soul, of depth, of knowing.
And does it align with love and compassion and kindness and grace and all of that? And so just before we leave, quickly, we will be, our next show will be on the 3rd Monday, because we have 5 Mondays in October. So we'll do the 3rd and the 5th. So I think the last one's Halloween, and I think it's the 17th, or that 14 days. Yeah, so we're going to be then. So we'll see you on the 17th.
Live here, October 17th.
Anyway. Okay.
Thanks, Noemi. It was beautiful channeling. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Beautiful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.